लोके अनुभवः शुक्तिका हि रजतवत् अवभासते एकश्चन्द्रः सद्वितीयवत् iti. Yeah. So the Purva Pakshi challenges and says, what is this Adhyāsa that you are talking about? You see, the Purva Pakshi is not asking out of a sense of Shraddha, like even a satsang question. Can you please tell me what this Adhyāsa is? Or what's the difference between this or that? The Purva Pakshi is asking, in the question usually is hidden a setup or a challenge, which Adi Shankara avoids and maneuvers around in this answer very, very beautifully. How we'll see right now, because one thing we have to remember is even though the word Adhyāsa was coined by Adi Shankara to use in this particular way of erroneous, understanding of the self to denote that, the concept of mistaking one thing for another was already there in the Shastra, and it had already been thought out by various matas. Matas means darshanas. Darshanas means matas. Now, contentions, points of view. And so those were the Purva Pakshis for the Vedantin. Like there was someone called the Naiyayika, logician, Vaisheshika, and then what else, Kshanikavada, and then Bauddha, general Bauddha, Buddhist. Like this, they were the sparring partners with the help of whom you had to defend your, standpoint. You had to defend your standpoint in connection to the, the contemporary sparring partners of those times. Those who had either a partial understanding or an erroneous understanding about the, this whole how to look at the Upanishads. They had their own way, and some of them would stretch the Shastra to get out some meaning. Some of them would wring the Shastra to get out the meaning that they wanted. And so, in Vedanta, we neither stretch the Shastra nor wring out the Shastra. We let it speak and then understand it as it is, which requires a high level of emotional maturity. Without that emotional maturity, in Sanskrit called Chitta Shuddhi, this kind of an understanding is not there. As the Kathopanishad says, until one is, one chooses to know what the Upanishad has to say, the Atma won't show itself. So you can attend 100 pravachans, discourses, you can, use intellection, and you can keep listening, but if that listening is not proper listening, in the sense of wanting to be moved from one particular set of notions that one espouses to another, if that is not there, if the ability to change is not there based on one's non-preparation, this inability is there, then what happens is that, the Atma is not understood. Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyah na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yamevaisha vrinute tena labhyah tasyaisha Atma vivrinute tanum swam. So the Atma shows itself to the one who is committed to understanding it. And that committed pursuit is not just Shravanam, but Shravanam with an open mind. That is what, there. But how do these darshanas or these opposing viewpoints or strange viewpoints come about? They come about because they highlight one particular aspect. They're not all wrong, but they highlight one particular aspect. So they focus on a particular point of view, and they are committed to that particular point of view. And so they mistake the point of view for the view. This is the problem. A point of view is valid and it can be, appreciated and understood in its own right if it is recognized as a point of view. But if it is mistaken for the view, then, there is no help. That is where the error is. And so here, that is why in the last chapter of the Karika of the Mandukya Upanishad, Adi Shankara's grand guru, Gaudapadacharya, says, all these contentions, we don't fight with them. Because, it's like fighting with, it's like a, accomplished wrestler, gold medalist, fighting, with a street urchin. There is, a little lad. It doesn't make any sense. We don't have any truck with them. In fact, what we say is that we accept all of them to a certain extent in a certain way, and then we transcend all of them also. Because Vedanta is about giving up notions, not keeping on having notions. And so in the question, we can read between the lines a kind of a setup. Come on, what is your adhyasa? How do you define it? Because this thing that Adi Shankara calls adhyasa has already been thought about by these various darshanas and matas, by these, fields where the ways of looking at the Shastra. Except in those days they didn't call it that. They had a funny name for it, khyati. Khyati. Khyati literally means fame. But here it doesn't mean fame. What does it mean? It means, a kind of a wrong understanding here. Khyati. And so they were, what we call, so from this standpoint, they were like 5 khyatis. Khyati Panchakam. This is not a Vedanta text like Sadhana Panchakam, Manisha Panchakam, okay? This is just 5 ways of looking at this error based on one's particular philosophical standpoint. So, this is in this short paragraph, that's what Adi Shankara brings out. But first, let us look at what he says, and we'll understand each of those, each of those points briefly. So first we'll understand what he gives as a response. Uchyate smriti rupaha paratra purvadrishta avabhasaha. Avabhasa, perception. Paratra means anyatra, elsewhere. The perception of something, paratra, purvadrishta, the perception of something where it is not, elsewhere, paratra, anyatra, in a different location. And where was it first encountered? Purva drishtaha, seen somewhere else, either in the memory or in the movies or through prior experience. So something that was seen elsewhere is erroneously seen here now. This is what, he gives a very, it's a fantastic definition. The first definition of adhyasa, he has one more. The other one is atasmin tad buddhi, in the not that buddhi, that we'll be seeing later. But this is a brilliant, very brilliant, definition. Because when you give a definition, it has to be apt. It has to describe either the object or the phenomenon. And the definition, the lakshana, should not suffer from what is called avyapti. Avyapti means it doesn't cover the ground fully. And we'll be seeing all that. Neither should any definition, a good definition, have the fallacy or be subject to the fallacy, dosha of ativvyapti. It overcompensates. Here, this is a very brilliant definition because it neither undercompensates nor does it overcompensate, because it is a very objective definition. Paratra, anyatra, seen somewhere else, something that was seen prior is seen elsewhere. The perception of something experienced prior, seen now where it is not, elsewhere. So this is a very general thing. And then, then he goes on to talk about the fact that he is not the first one to give this definition. And in so doing, he kind of lulls the Purva Pakshi to sleep, because he brings out all the various ways of looking at it, but without really criticizing them or dealing with them. Because right now, what is he trying to do? He's trying to define Adhyāsa. He's not trying to pick a bone with each and every definition. That he will do later. He's going to thrash their philosophies in chapter 2, 3, etc. of Brahmasutra. But right now, he is just wanting to show that that his definition is completely unopposed to all the other philosophies' ways of looking at this particular error. And here, we can take a stock example for this error, an ancient example of going on a beach on a bright sunny day, not a cloudy day like this. Then far away on the sand, you see something shining, and then you have, read in the newspaper or somewhere that the government is releasing some kind of a, what is that? $10 silver coin. Big, shiny, nice. And immediately the thought had gone by when you read that news item, I'd like to have one of those. I wonder how you get them. And then you're walking on the beach. You've forgotten that you had read this news item. It's no longer there in the memory. And then what happens? You see something shining. Something as big as what you saw in the photo on the computer or wherever. And then you make a run for it because you don't want anyone else to get there before you. And it's quite hard to run in the sand, but nonetheless you run. And then you bend to pick it up. And then what? Mother of pearl. Just a shell with a shiny underbelly in the sun, deceiving you. And then along with this discovery comes what? A slight disappointment. Ayyo, I ran all the way and this is all I got. And it has no value to you, you throw it away. So this is the example, correct? And so, now, what has happened here now, one thing we have to understand is that this definition is particularly apt because it talks about the Adhyāsa it points a very important thing about Adhyāsa in this definition. And in this example, what happened? You mistook the mother of pearl for the silver, correct? You mistook it. You thought it is the silver dollar, but it turned out to be just a shell. And first you said, this silver dollar, correct? And then you said, oh, this piece of shell. This is a silver dollar. And you ran. Oh. And then what? This is not a dollar. This is what? Shell. So in this definition, paratra purva avabhasa, purva drishta avabhasa, we have to understand one very important thing. There is only one cognition. There is only one thing that's being cognized. What is that? In this example, what is being, mother of pearl is being cognized. There's only one thing, correct? First, that one thing which was to be cognized was mistaken for a silver dollar. So that's why you said, this is a silver dollar. And then you corrected yourself and said, no, this is mother of pearl. So there's only one this. There are no two entities. There are no two cognitions. There's only one cognition. First, this cognition has joined what? What is here? The silver dollar that one had read about, and then this cognition corrects, in light of this correction, joins what? The mother of pearl. So there's only one thing that is being cognized. It's not that two things are being simultaneously cognized. This is very, very important. So the idam pratyaya, first idam, rajat. Ayam rajat. And then after that what? Then it goes and says, iyam shuktika. So like this, there is only one this. There's only one cognition. First it is erroneous, and then the error is corrected. And then what? Then also it's still one cognition. So this is what we have to understand in this definition, very, very wonderfully and beautifully, highlighted in this example. And then he talks about how the other people view this. Tam kechit anyatra anyadharma adhyāsaha iti vadanti. Kechit means some people. Some people say that it is the transposition of the qualities of one onto the other. Correct? So the transposition of the qualities of one thing onto the other we know very well. It is dharma adhyasa. We have studied it. Correct? So in this he is talking about a particular viewpoint called anyatha khyati. Anyatha khyati. 5 khyatis. First khyati, anyatha khyati. What on earth is this anyatha khyati? This anyatha khyati is a mata, is the opinion of the logician and their friends, the Vaisheshikas. So this is what they say. What do they say? They have a very complicated and a maddening philosophy from our standpoint, okay? Yeah. A maddening philosophy because there is no mithya at all. Everything is satyam, 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 satyam. Everything is existent in its own right. What about the mother pearl? And this is how they'll talk to you. Well, doesn't the mother of pearl exist? Yes, it does. Otherwise, how will you see it? You saw it. The silver also exists. Correct? So each thing is satyam. And each thing has some materials that make up that thing. So each thing is made up of some materials, ingredients, whatever it is, organic and inorganic compounds, whatever it is. And that is called dravya. And what are the dravyas based on? Gunas, some attributes are there. And then, you may say, and the dravyas are satya, gunas are satya, the thing itself is satya. Then you say, if everything is real, then what is the connection between the ingredients and the attributes that make up the thing and the thing itself? Oh, there is a sambandha, which is also real, satya. Samavaya, it is called, a kind of a connecting thing between a thing and its attribute. There is a connection. And so here, how does anyatha khyati look at the silver and the mother of pearl? Anyatha khyati will say that, well, it is true that there is a real silver. It may not be right here, right now, but it does exist in the world. Silver dollar exists. It's real. And then The mother of pearl also exists. It's real. Why? Because it's right in front of you. And then what you have done is anyatra anya dharma adhyasa. So what you have done is you remember in your mind the shininess of what? The silver. The shine of the silver is superimposed onto the mother of the pearl. And therefore, you come to the conclusion, to the wrong conclusion, this is silver. This we know very well, this is dharma adhyasa. But they will not say that the whole silver was mistaken for the mother of pearl. They don't believe in dharmi adhyasa. We are going to go over this very, very briefly because we are following the text. And in the text also, just one half sentence Bhashyakara, deals with them. In fact, in this one, the second khyati is also covered. Not only anyatha khyati, in this sentence, anyatra anya dharma adhyasah iti vadanti, what is covered? Anyatha khyati and the, kshanika vijnanavada. Kshanika vijnanavada means the kind of I think it corresponds to one particular kind of, there is a Buddhist, sect. It corresponds to a particular kind of a Buddhist sect called Yogachara or Kshanika Vijnanavadi. The philosophy or of flickers of consciousness. So what is this one? This is called Atmakhyati. The first one was called what? Anyatha Khyati. This is Atmakhyati. Atma here is not Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. No, we are not talking of that. Atma means subjective here. It's all about you, and there is no objective thing in the universe. Where is it? It's not there. So everything is a flicker of consciousness. So the whole world is a subjective phenomenon, the whole universe, and it's just a flicker of consciousness. So in one flicker of consciousness, the silver shines, and in the next flicker of consciousness, mother of pearl shined. Big deal. So this is what they say. The whole thing is a series of flickers of consciousness. Then if you sit them down and ask them, how is there continuity and memory? How does one flicker means that which is there for a kshanika, it's momentary, for a second. So how in that 1 second, the flicker that is here right now is going to communicate to the next flicker? They will not have an answer. It's a completely inward philosophy, a total subjective philosophy, where there is nothing happening outside. And so, yes, the first thing that you saw, what you thought you saw was indeed a thought, and the second thing is also a thought formation. What was the first thing that you saw? Silver. That's in your thought. And then the Shuktika, mother of pearl, is also a subjective flicker which comes and goes. And you try to tell them, what about pratyaksha pramana and all? They don't want to even talk about that. Because even though it is objectifiable, it really doesn't exist. It is all impermanent. So, this is kind of contradictory to the first one. The first one, this is Nayayika Vaisheshika Matha, where everything is Satyam. And here what? Everything is Mithya. These two ends of the continuum, Anyatha Khyati and Atma Khyati, very interesting. If everything is Satyam, we are in deep trouble. Because will the real Satyam please stand up, and how will I recognize you, and how will my samsaritvam go? Because only when I understand myself as one with that Satyam, I am no longer a samsari. And in everything is Mithya, Mithya itself becomes Satyam, because there is no Satyam. If Mithya becomes Satyam, Satyam becomes Mithya naturally. So there is no Satyam to talk about. So this is very interesting. So that's, so those two fellows, Adi Shankara acknowledges in the second sentence, tam kechit anyatra anyadharma adhyasah iti vadanti. He makes it kind of broad definition to include anyatha khyati and the Bauddha mata called kshanikavada atmakhyati. Then the third sentence, kechittu yatra yad adhyasah tad viveka agraha nibandha brahmah iti. The third one is called akhyati. Akhyati means, or in other words, what adhyasa? Where is the adhyasa that you're talking about? Akhyati. Akhyati means there is no adhyasa. It's just a waste of time to talk about, all this misperception and then transference of one thing onto the other thing and, all these things we don't need. And this is the mata of, we could say, what is that? Purva Mimamsakas. And specifically one philosopher who wrote about this extensively, his name was Prabhakara, so it has come to be understood as Prabhakara Mata. And so what does this Prabhakara Mata say? So there is no adhyasa. Why? Again, because both are real. What both? The Shuktika, the seen mother of pearl, is real, of course. And what else is real? The silver is also real. Where is the mistake? Silver exists or not? Yes, And then mother of pearl exists or not? Yes. No, but I made a mistake. I saw the silver in place of the mother of pearl. Well, that is viveka agrahena. Nibandhana means the circumstances was because of aviveka. The inability to perceive the difference. Well, isn't that a mistake? No, but that is real. Because when you thought the silver was real, when you thought that the mother of pearl was really silver, that is real. It did happen, didn't it? Yeah. So in your experience, which cannot be denied, that is real. And he also says, dream is real, waking is real, everything is real. And so, now, this is real. So the mistake happened. The mistake is also existent. So therefore it is undeniable because it happened. Doesn't matter if it was later corrected or not. Mistake happened. Mistake exists. Silver exists. And then what? This other thing, Shuktika. What is that? Mother of pearl exists. And so, where is the error? No, the perception was flawed. Well, why do you say it was flawed? Because you saw it. Because the possibility to see was there. They won't even say the possibility to see was there. They'll say more clearly, according to their mata, they will say that you saw it. And yes, you say that, okay, it was a mistake, but it was an experience of seeing something. And that experience is real. This is what is called akhyati. In other words, there is no adhyasa, don't waste my time. There is no error. Everything is valid. The mistake also happened, and because of that experience of the mistake is valid, the mistake is also valid. Silver is valid, mother of pearl perception is valid, the misperception is also valid because of wrong understanding. Aviveka. Okay, so that is what? Akhyati. Akhyati. And then what? Then let us read further. Brahmaha iti. So, Brahmaha here means not delusion, but just a misperception. And that misperception, they call it as correct perception because, both the ability to make that mistake is because of the similarity, and so no wonder you made that mistake. But that mistake happened and that is real, so there is really speaking no mistake. अन्ये तु यत्र यद् अध्यासः तस्यैव विपरीतधर्मत्व कल्पनाम् आचक्षते. So here also he covers two viewpoints. अन्ये tu, others however, yatra yad adhyasah, where what is mistaken, where something is mistaken, tasyaiva viparita dharmatvam kalpanam achakshate. So wherever something is mistaken, what do they say? They say that, the assumption in one thing of attributes that don't belong to that thing, is a superimposition. This is what they say. And who are they? One mata called Asatkhyaati. Asatkhyaati means what? This is the Shunyavadi. Shunyavadi corresponding to the modern Theravada Buddhism. There is nothing, again, kind of like Atmakhyati, but everything is zero, Shunya. The truth of the world is nothing. Nothing at all. And so if the truth of the world is nothing, then what happens? What about our two ingredients? Silver and mother of pearl. Where is silver? They will do a breakdown, of all the chemical, compounds and everything like that. And it's all not there, not there, not there, not there, not there, shunya, shunya, shunya. Mother of pearl similarly, shunya, 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 shunya. So, asatkhyaati means the first thing that you are talking about is what? Shunya. The second, asat, non-existent. Shunya means non-existent. And then the second thing that you are talking about, namely the mother of pearl, also non-existent. So what does it matter if you make a mistake or not? If the things that about which you are making a mistake do not really exist, then the mistake also, what? It doesn't really matter. Therefore what? Asat khyati, everything is asat, asat, asat. They are some of them, they have very slight differences. And very cleverly, Bhashyakara weaves in his own view and the view of other Vedantins in the same sentence. Interesting. The Kshanikavada, the Asatkhyaati, the Shunyavada has a lot of similarity with the Atmakhyati, which is what? Which is the same thing as the Bauddha Mata, Kshanika Vijnanavada. They have some very similar things because everything is mithya, 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 mithya. And this one says everything is ultimately non-existent. There is no existent thing. And if there is no existent thing, then, it's all in some kind of a thought form. And so one thought form of the silver can easily be placed onto what? The mother of pearl. Why should we worry about that? Because nothing really exists. This is what is called asatkhyaati. And the Vedantic position on this is called anirvachaniya khyati. Now we feel comfortable. Because we know the meaning of anirvachaniya, that which cannot be categorized as what? Existent or non-existent. You cannot categorically say something exists or something does not exist. And so what does it mean? That everything, that this adhyasa happens. Anirvachaniya, because you really cannot, answer the question why something is mistaken for the other, because we have already seen the impossibility of that mistake. We have seen the impossibility of the idam pratyaya, being confused for the aham pratyaya, but it still happens. Why? It's based on the whole understanding of Maya Shakti, which has a great prominence in the Anirvachaniya way of looking at Adhyasa. So we say, this Maya Shakti has got two aspects. Shaktidvayam hi Mayayaha. And then, what are they? The power to cover. The power to cover the truth from the one who is seeking it. So the power to cover is called avarana. Somebody said, I want to learn more about avarana. It is not avarana, okay? Yeah. Yeah. Avarana. Avarana. That, that which covers completely. So this is the, this definition of Maya as having this avarana Shakti is from the standpoint of the individual. Because who is covered by the avarana? Ishvara or Jiva? Jiva. Ishvara has no ignorance. The avarana is that covering, that veil of ignorance, which makes people veil. That's why it's called veil. Yeah. So this is the veiling power of Maya, covering power. And then from the standpoint of Bhagavan, what is there? Projecting power. Correct? So the projecting power is there. And so the projecting power, is called Vikshepa Shakti. Because we need a kind of we need to understand this whole cosmology of how this one Brahman, as though, again, we have to permanently have one as though above the lecture hall here, hanging, in quotes, as though. So, how did this one non-dual Brahman as though become many? So there has to be some kind of a way to explain it. And this again, is taken from the Upanishad. Indro maya bhihi pururupam iyate. Very, very nice way of looking at this. Is the Upanishad. Indra here is not the king of heaven. Indra here is what? The Bhagavan. Along with Maya Bhihi. So many kinds of Mayas here. So Shakti, various kinds of Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupini, Maya. So this various power to, project, power to sustain, power to take back, all these powers, with the help of these powers, Bhagavan Pururupam Iyate. Bhagavan takes on many forms. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And then in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad also, we have Maya Shakti coming in. Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat, Mayinam cha Maheshwaram. Know Maya to be the manifest universe. And the one that is the projector is Bhagavan. So this Shakti is brought in to show how this one non-dual force appears as though it is many without undergoing any change or loss in the process. But the thing to note here is that the Shakti itself is Kalpita Shakti. It's the Shakti, the words as though start with the Shakti itself. Because this is not a parallel reality to Brahman. Otherwise we'll be in trouble. Maya and Brahman are not getting along because it is Kali Yuga. Then where do we go, So, that's not the case because that Maya Shakti is an as though power as though endowing Brahman with the status of knower, all knowing, omniscient, all power, all pervasive. And that same Maya, the as though power, blesses, sarcastically, blesses the individual. With what? Avidya, avarana shakti. She who manifests as all knowledge for Ishvara, for Bhagavan, manifests as all ignorance for the Jiva. Anirvachaniya. How? That's how. But thankfully, the Jiva can lose the avarana. So you see, it's a very interesting, it's a very nice way to look at it. So we shouldn't be worried. Why me? Why did I come under the spell of Maya in this particular way? Well, you are under the spell, but you can come out of the spell if you want right now. That's all it is. So, because it's an as though Shakti, it is not real. And neither is it unreal. You see, this is what is anirvachaniya. That's why we have a Maya Panchakam, a quintet for Maya. We studied it last year. And this quintet for Maya, aghatita ghatana patiyasi. Patiyasi means, oh, you cleverest one. You're so clever. Aghatita ghatana, you make something that never happened happen. Yeah. Somehow you manage it. This is anirvachaniya. And why is this important? It's important to see this, that, the Jiva is Brahman. Jiva is Ishvara. There is no difference at all. Brahman is Ishvara. Jiva is Ishvara. There is no difference. Except this, what comes in between the Jiva and Ishvara is this avarna. That's all it is. Avarna removed, Jiva is Ishvara. So the dunce cap has to be taken off. It's almost like Maya is a very wonderful, consummate seamstress. Yeah. And Ishvara goes and says, I want a custom dress to reflect my glory. Okay, no problem. And she makes him a cape full of what? Finest embroidery and all kinds of planets and galaxies hanging on the border. Yeah, Jagat Karta, Jagat Dharta, a wonderful crown studded with jewels. Jiva also, under the spell of Ajnanam, first she takes down. Okay, what is your job? She asks Ishvara, I'm the ruler of the universe. I'm the greatest. I'm the best, east or west. So make me a gown like that. And the Jiva also goes and says, she got a gown, what about me? I also want a gown. Okay, tell me a few things about yourself, because I have to make you a custom-made gown. Nobody loves me. I have a hard time with everything. I'm a useless creature. I'm not perfect. I hate myself. I also hate others, but nothing goes right. I have come under the spell of bad luck. And she says, okay, enough, you're depressing me. Go away and come back in a week. It's all just, imagination, just to get the point across. In 1 week, Jiva excitedly comes back to Maya to see what is there. A tattered gown full of patchwork. Yeah. Patchwork is, a little, what should I say, do-it-yourself self-esteem workshop that is there in a little patch. A tattered gown, and what is the border? No gold and no galaxies hanging, nothing. tears and fears. And the jiva wraps it around. Yeah, this fits. This is me. Yeah. Guru comes and says, take it off. No, I love it. But at the same time, I'm crying into it. This is what the whole thing is. So the Vedanta Shastra makes you lose this gown, this cloak of misery. This cloak of misery, you just check it. You check it in before you enter Vedanta class. Yeah, in some places you go to something hat and coat. Here also we have outside. Coat check. I mean, there are no coats because the weather is warm. But you see in the winter. So that's where you take it off. Otherwise the Guru forcibly takes it off. Yeah. This is what is this Ajnana Nivritti. And this, this cloak, first for 5 minutes one feels safe. Yeah, this is me, custom made, Maya herself made, how nice. And then afterwards it starts to stifle. And you don't know how to take it off. Because it's made by Maya. No buttons, zips anywhere, no zipper, no buttons. Custom made, fitting completely. And then it starts to itch, and then it starts to burn. Out! Let me out! Then you become a mumukshu. Then you go to the teacher and say, how does it come out? Then you become a jigyasu. And then when it finally comes off, the avarana cloak. Avarana means that which cloaks the jnanam, the glory of yourself. When it finally comes off, it's glorious. The Panchadashi says so very beautifully in one of the chapters. I think chapter 8 closes with this verse. Maya megho jaganniram varshatu esha yatha tatha chidakashasya kolabha kahanihi iti sthitihi. So once it comes off, what will I be like? The scenario is given in the Panchadashi very nicely. And the scenario is this. Maya is the cloud, a rain-laden cloud, a heavy rain-laden cloud. And Maya rains. When Maya rains, what does she rain? She rains the Jagat. All kinds of manifestations she is raining. Correct? And then the person of knowledge who is not under the spell of Avarna says, Varshatu Esha, let her rain a few more manifestations, let her take away a few more manifestations, let her add a few more manifestations. It makes no difference to me. And the person of knowledge is the one like Akasha, like space. When it rains, does space have to carry an umbrella? No. The space does not get wet by the rain. Similarly, the person of knowledge is not afflicted any longer by this anirvachaniya. Varshatu esha. And then from the standpoint of Akasha, here what is that? Chidakasha. That chit, I know I am that sentient one. That chit I am. Chidakashasya kahanihi. What do I lose? Nothing. Being in the rain. It's not that I am a salt doll and I am standing out in the rain and I will melt. No. Kolabha. What do I gain? Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Provided this adhyasa goes. Very, very important to see this. And so this anirvachaniya khyati, he includes here, along with its, along with its opposite, asat khyati, together in this, in this sentence. What is that? Tad viveka, tasyaiva viparita dharma, tasyaiva viparita dharmatva kalpanam achakshate. Anyetu yatra yad adhyasah, wherever there is an erroneous perception, then viparita dharma. And so from the standpoint of asatkhati, shunyavada, imagined dharmas, one imagined dharma is being superimposed on another imagined thing. Big deal. Moving on, because everything is shunya anyway. And from the standpoint of the anirvachaniya khyati, this adhyasa is just like what we have talked about, dharma adhyasa, anyonya adhyasa, dharmi adhyasa. The Atma is mistaken for the body, mind, sense complex. And, the body, mind, sense complex is mistaken for the infinite. That's why I want the body to keep on continuing. Because the satta and the spurti belonging to the Atma are seen to be part and parcel of the body, as it were. So the mistake goes both ways. And so therefore what? That is what is called anirvachaniya khyati. And then what else? Sarvatha apitu anyasya anya dharma avabhasatam navyabhicharati. So in a master stroke, the Adi Shankara responds to the Purva Pakshi, because the Purva Pakshi was scratching for a fight. He thought he'll have a narrow Vedantic definition of Adhyasa and then I'll catch him. No such thing. A nice broad definition is given, neither too broad nor too narrow, just the right, it hits the right notes and brings to the fore the universal agreement. Navyabhicharanti means they don't contradict one another. So there is a universal agreement regardless of what particular, darshana or mata or viewpoint that one follows. And what is this universal agreement? That adhyasa is nothing but something seen elsewhere. Something mistaken for something else, something that was seen elsewhere being seen in a place where it is not. Everybody will agree. How will they agree? Like, okay, let us go back to anyatha khyati. Anyatha khyati will say, yes, paratra purva drishta avabhasah asti. So the shine of the silver, the dharma of the silver has gone and joined what? The mother of pearl. They will agree. And then what else? The atmakhyati, the kshanikavada, who says everything is imagined, everything is an internal perception, will also agree. The internal perception of the silver is now being seen in place of the mother of pearl, which is also an internal perception. So there are two contending internal perceptions. Understood? Yeah. And then, so again, paratra purva drishta avabhasah. So the definition is again pakka. Then what is the next khyati? Akhyati. There is no error at all. So this one is a little harder to convince, paratra purva drishta avabhasah. But then you can still say that, yes, everything is real for you, O Mimamsaka. Silver is real, and then the mother of pearl is also real, but you cannot say that you did not see, or this person did not see the mother silver, you cannot say that this person saw the silver, where it saw the silver separately and the mother of pearl separately. In fact, there was some kind of a mix-up. The silver was seen elsewhere than where it existed. Okay? So there also it fulfills it. Little harder, because he doesn't even, accept the possibility of error. But he will agree that if something is seen somewhere else where it is not. Then finally, then the second last one, asatkyati, also will, the shunyavada will also say, yes, the non-existent silver is what? Mistaken for the non-existent mother of pearl. Both are non-existent, zero. And the anirvachaniya khyati will say, yes, there is a dharmi adhyasa, where one thing is completely taken to be the other thing, or there is a dharma adhyasa, where the attributes of one thing are taken to be the other thing. So then, this is a broad definition, which is really pakka wonderful. And then, sarvatha apitu, yeah, we've seen that, navyabhicharati, tatha, tatha cha loke anubhavah. So, tatha, in the same manner, we have this experience everywhere in the universe. Shuktikahi rajatavat avabhasate. The mother of pearl shines as though it is silver without being silver. This is very important. So, there is in saying this is silver, and then this is mother of the pearl, that this cognition joins first the silver and then it edits itself and joins the word mother of pearl. Only one cognition. So the idam amsha is there, and the idam amsha, is the adhara, and then the idam amsha is the adhara, is the basis for this cognition. There is only one cognition in adhyasa. And then he also gives another example, ekashchandraha sadvitiyavat iti avabhasate. How many moons are there? Yeah, one, because we are not on some other planet which has 2 or 3 multiple moons. One moon, but then you press the eyeballs together like this, and then you look at the moon. How many moons do you see? 2. Or wait till the cataract comes, Then without pressing also, you will see 2. So this is, so you see 2, but there are no 2 moons. There's only one moon. And so like this, these kinds of erroneous perceptions, here very beautifully through the first definition, paratra purvavat, purva avabhasaha, purva drishta avabhasaha, adhyasaha. More we shall see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Please stay. Auntie has an announcement.